Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello everyone and welcome along to the Precision Automobile Club Esports Porsche Cup presented by Eagle Speed Academy here on Apex Racing TV. We are live from the Red Bull Ring deep in the heart of the Styrian Mountains in Austria, a top-class circuit for the opening round of this fantastic championship. My name is Ashley Denman. Sat alongside me in the box this evening is the dutiful Dan Field, and bringing you the action itself, seen but not heard, is Samuli Kumo. Dan, welcome along, welcome back as well. I hope you're having a fine evening here, as I'm very much looking forward to getting this series underway. What are you hoping for in this one?
Well, I'm just hoping for some great racing. It's a 30-car field mixed with iRacing from 10,000 all the way down to 2,000. So it's going to be an exciting ride. And I think this might be some of the best cars that we've got on the iRacing service. And I'm not biased at all with my Porsche Penske hat on one side of me and then my Porsche 963 on the other. I absolutely love these cars. And I love Porsche Cup. I'm excited for this evening, for what they've got for us.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be some thrilling action that's going to take place. And what a venue as well. Can't understate that. Well, can't overstate that enough, really. The Red Bull Ring, it's obviously high-speed action from start to finish. Long straights with some very tight technical corners thrown in for good measure. It's a real test of driver skill here. And so it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. It's going to definitely... You know, you're going to see who's going to rise to the top of this series. And, of course, you mentioned there lots of differentiating iRatings, you could say, from 10,000 to 2. We've also got a few different categories in there. 3 of them, I believe, Dan. Maybe you know a little bit more about them. But as far as I've got it, it's Pro, Pro-Am and Amateur.
I do believe that is exactly right. We've got about 9 pro drivers. I believe they're all racing with us today. We're missing 1 Pro-Am. With an average of 4.0. You can see it at the top of your screen, and then the rest is filled out by amateurs. I believe we are 29 tonight. Luke Andrews, unfortunately, on holiday. Well, not unfortunately on holiday, but his plane was delayed in coming back, so we're missing him this evening. But nevertheless, we got 29 drivers giving us some action. We're in practice now. They've only got 3 laps in qualifying, so they've got to make their lap count.
Yeah, certainly do. 10 minutes on the clock for them when we get round to that part of this session. So it is going to be every lap counts in a way, and it's going to be interesting to see how they take it as well with the fact that iRacing, I mean, I can't remember exactly when the previous season was, but we've now got the warming up of the tyres that needs to take place for these effectively sort of GT3-S cars. Of course, the Porsche Cup, though, no driving aids to help them around. It's all done on pure skill and talent, as you can see here, as they're just finishing up their final practice session before we get going in the real thing.
Absolutely. Sorry. I think I've jumped in on you there. I mean, I just wanted to talk about this circuit and the Porsche Cup. Or there was some Porsche race around here, I think a couple of months ago, and I need to get the exact series up. But this is a brilliant track for these cars. It was action from start to finish, and yeah, well, practice already. You can see how tight things are throughout the field, barring Mimasi at the top, who is, I believe, the highest rated driver on the grid. You can see how tightly knit things are, even with the pro-ams and the amateurs mixing it in with the pros. So I think today we've got a fantastic grid for a fantastic circuit.
We should hope so. Speaking of Mimasi, we can let you know Erin Baba, who won the previous 2 seasons here in this Porsche Cup Championship, due to team commitments, he's unable to return to defend his title, but they've got Mimasi able to step in for him. They've said decent substitute here. I wonder if decent is a bit of an understatement on that one, because he's absolutely trouncing the field here in practice. 4 tenths over the next car in Allen. Yeah, I think decent doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah, decent really is understating how talented of a driver Mimasi is. I mean, I'm not familiar with him as a driver, but just seeing what I've got in front of me on my screen, I think decent is far and away an understatement here. This is a fantastic entry to the grid, and I really think already he can cause some problems. You can see the ratings on your screen, 10.5.
That's it. Well, I can tell you now, it's definitely over 5 times higher than my iRating. So just to give you an idea of where I'm at, I don't even make the bottom of the amateur list. So yeah, some serious talent in this field. That is very much on display for us and very clear to see. Why don't we go briefly, Dan, over what is up for grabs here in this series, because it is round one, everything is up for grabs here, and of course anybody can win it in theory. So let's see what they can do as the season wears on. But prize pool wise, I mean, do you have it in front of you, Dan, or do you want me to take it away?
I do have it in front of me. So first overall, it's a €300 voucher by Eagle Speed Academy. You get a trophy by KGL Creation Lab, and you get a free entry to next season. I believe that it's €36 is the entry, and then you get €5 refunded if you turn up to every single race. Second overall is a €200 voucher to Eagle Speed Academy, then a trophy by KGL Creation Lab, then a 50% discount, and then to next season. And then third overall is a €100 voucher by Eagle Speed Academy with a trophy from KGL Lab and a 30% discount for next season. That is €500 that our title sponsor Eagle Speed Academy are putting up, and I was having a little look into what they're all about, and I tell you what, it's a fantastic service that these drivers have got the potential to win.
Do. They really are a fantastic organisation, as I've like you said, looking into it a little bit. I've done my my own background research, you could say. They really are fantastic. Based in Belgium, as the entire series is as well. They're a professional racing school created to make motorsport accessible for anybody, from complete beginners to experienced drivers looking to refine, hone their craft. And you can get anything from theory lessons to advanced on-track coaching. I would imagine they've got some one-to-one in there as well, because why wouldn't you? You can even manage to get some passenger hot laps they've got here as well, which sounds absolutely thrilling. I mean, where do I sign up for that?
Absolutely, I think maybe season 4 I'll be out the commentary box and into the seat. But given that my iRating, I don't even want to mention it. Just maybe take a 0 off of Mimasi, and then you can get around about where I am. It's worth mentioning as well, the Pro-Am champion will be rewarded with a 4-week data pack of the Porsche Cup official series from 1BF Coaching. That's Bernardo Faria, 4th place at the minute in practice. And then the amateur champion gets a 1-hour coaching session from Bernardo himself. So thank you to Bernardo for offering up that. Here is Miles Hemming on your screen, going for a little spin towards the end of practice.
Looked pretty under control, but either way, sort of getting out of it, I think they're all getting into the mindset now of let's get ready to go for qualifying, because it should be up very shortly indeed. You can see obviously the rundown there in the practice session itself. So we've probably got a pretty decent idea of where things are going to shake out. However, I have got the results here from free practice 1 and 2 earlier on. I believe it was Friday and Saturday, so a few days ago. Herbino managed to top FP1 with Ross in 2nd and Danish in 3rd, or Danish potentially. And then for FP2 we had Van Thielen. Herbino once again back in that top 3. He's 2nd this time though, only by 0.005 of a second, so really is nothing separating them. And Colin rounded out that top 3. So even then, it just sort of shows that I think anybody really can take the fight this evening, can't they, Dan? And they're going to put on a fantastic show, I'm sure of it. But qualifying to come now. They've got 10 minutes. 3 laps is the maximum they can go for it, and everyone is going to count.
It's pretty short circuit, all things considered. Here we are having a look at the first of the drivers to come out on circuit. That's 212 of Navarro de Boeva. I think a good way of indicating if someone, other than the red indicators on the actual car itself, any number beginning with a 2 in the 200s, that's an amateur driver. Then the Pro-Am, they are preceded by a 1, and then it is just 2-digit numbers for the pro drivers. So if you're not able to see the colours all too well, just have a look at the numbers. But it is De Boeva first out on circuit, downhill through Slosh Gold, turn number 4 around this circuit. I think this will be the prime opportunity to make up some moves.
Certainly should be indeed, but let's see what they have all got. Cards fully on the table at this point. It's foot to the floor, go as fast as you can and see what time you can put up. But I mean, 3 laps, we've said it already, it's not many, it's not long. And like you say, it's a short circuit here as well. So they really are going to have to nail it. And, you know, maybe pushing too hard, particularly on the first one, probably not the smartest move. Let's try and get a lap on the board, some might be thinking. Of course, you want it to be a good one, but if you make the small mistake, they still have the in-game iRacing stewards at play. So if you do go wide, you get an off-track, your lap's going to be invalid. So you're definitely not going to want to be doing that. But De Boer then, he's off on his first flying run through turn number 1 of Lauder Curve. Let's see what he can do here.
Yeah, onto the loud pedal, off the exit. You really don't want to step too far over that sausage curb. It can very much dissettle the car. But now, flat out, headed up the hill in towards the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. And the very peak, it'll be all downhill from here. Here is Navarro de Bova in towards the next right-hander, hitting his marks very nicely indeed. This first lap, all about just you know, getting your foot in the door, just really setting the benchmark and gaining that confidence for your next couple of attempts. It's not the end of the world if you make a mistake, but in an ideal world, you want to get them perfect every single time. And so far, Navarro de Bova, a little bit wayward on the exit of turn number 4, but looking okay. And here is Vince Peters, one of our pro drivers today.
This is the chap I know a bit more familiar with, and his fine work that I've seen on display before. Very quick driver is Peters, and you can see they're racing for the Williams Sim Racing Academy. So keep an eye on him. He hasn't shown himself in practice thus far, but that doesn't mean to say he can't put the performance in when it's needed. You can just see them there on their sighter laps. They're just weaving around a bit. They're just trying to get some heat into those tyres, as I mentioned earlier, because you now have to warm them up. And so if you haven't got the heat in them, you haven't got the pressures up to where you need them in that optimal range, you're going to be lacking a lot of grip, particularly through that middle sector there. A few longer right and left handers, so that's where you need it most of all, because in the slower hairpins you can get away with a touch, but ultimately you want them at optimal temperatures by the time you start your first flying run.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. I believe it was about 6 months ago. That's it. All the tyres were sort of overhauled on this service, and it can be very difficult to get them up to temperatures. Not so much in these Porsche 922 machines, but it still can catch a lot of people out. The first laps are coming onto the board now. Number 87 of Bernardo Faria is the quickest so far, but just 0.08 of a second clear of Votter in second position. We are waiting for the big name who absolutely dominated in practice, of course, Memasi, to get a time on the board. But so far, all things are keeping pro-am, amateur. No one is bucking the trend just yet.
Not as it stands. Dinesh has just gone 10th fastest with his first flying run as he came across the start-finish line. We're still here on board with Faria, currently still on provisional pole and looking very mighty indeed. I think I might have to take him up on one of those lessons as well, as a few more cars crossing the line to start set their first flying runs. Lauwers goes 14th there. Memasi there though, 4/10 clear of Faria, immediately setting the pace. Insane.
Yeah, a decent replacement really for our defending champion. I think it's a decent replacement is Hadi Noah Memasi. That is an emphatic lap time there, really making a statement early. I mean, that is incredible. 30.9 is ridiculous. Bernardo Faria is coming up towards the line. I don't believe he was able to find an improvement on his previous best. I think he found a slight improvement. No, never mind. And there's Hugo Allen in the number 17. 600ths off Memasi. Not looking as invincible as he did in practice.
No, it certainly doesn't seem the case, as the I believe that's the Australian flag. Oh, God, you're really testing my flag knowledge on that one. Could be New Zealand. I apologise already, Alan. I can already hear it coming my way. Either way, he's looking very quick, isn't he? And yeah, like you say, Memasi under the pressure already, but they've just set their first flying run. So let's see if they can find any more improvements in the lap. Of course, the first run, you're still trying to find your feet with the tyres. So you would expect the times to come down even more than they already have done.
I believe the Red Stars, that's New Zealand, I believe. I think I don't think we've got any Aussies on the grid. I think there's a few New Zealanders from when I was having a look at the entire grid so far for this season. But yeah, I believe Alan is a New Zealander. Here is Felix Votter in the number 33 machine, a very colourful livery. Look at all the green, the purple, and the blue in the middle. That's a very nice car. Number 33. Let's see what he can do. He's headed through the final few corners now. Currently 2 3/4 tenths off the back of Mamasi, running in third position so far. These final 2 corners can be so tricky. You've got to be very careful on that exit not to get any track limits, as well as on this left-hand side through turn number 10. But here towards the line is Votter, and I don't believe he's able to find an improvement. That is his qualifying done.
I think a few of them have got to that point now where qualifying is getting over, and yeah, not many more laps to be taken on board there. Oh, that's all too much though there. I'm trying to work out who that is. I think that was I'm trying to work out who that is actually. One of the Eagle Speed cars. Yes, he is. Clearly got a little bit too much zip on that one. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, De Viger, as you said. Apologise. But yeah, either way, that's definitely not an improvement. And I wonder if that was his final run because he pulled off.
Yeah.
Not going again.
That's very disappointing. Here is Lewis through the final few corners now. Currently sat in P21, would want to be a lot higher up here. The Pro-Am category is the most congested on the grid. Not able to find an improvement is Lewis. He will stay in 21st position. Here is Vince Peters, 5 tenths off the pace, and in P7 has got one more opportunity, I believe, to get this lap across the line.
Going to be all down to the wire then, as we can see here. Peters, he's managed to find his way into 7th place. Round the final few corners now. Rint curve, that's incredibly wide. I wonder if that was too wide there from the Belgian as he rounds the final corner now. Maybe if he just keeps it on the green stuff, he's a-okay. Up to the line, can he find that improvement? I don't think he has.
I've seen a lot of drivers going incredibly wide through the final 2 corners. I'm actually not sure where the track limit is, where you get the warning. Here is Dirk Boots in 23rd. That is an incredible picture. It's a golden bear. It looks like a Monopoly piece for him. But that, I think, might be the end of qualifying. I'm having a look at the telemetry. No one else is out on circuit. That concludes our 10 minutes of qualifying here.
Well, there we go. I think we've got a few seconds to spare. As we say that, there's one more car out there. Who is that?
It's Enstrom.
As I try and find my spotter guide, Enstrom. Oh, well, there we go. The Swede still out on the circuit. Ice cold racing. Let's see if he's got ice in his veins as he tries to set a faster lap here. He seems to be a bit of the odd one out here, Dan. He's part of the Pro-Am category. He's got a few of the amateurs in front. I think at this point it's good to clarify then, Pro-Am, amateur. It's just a name. What it means, it's not essentially pace, it's essentially sort of what's the word? Experience is how I like to word it. I think my good friend Charles Boschel brought that one to my attention. It's not in pace at all. Of course, it does come with the nature of that title, but it's all about the experience, and the more experience you have, the further up you can genuinely progress. So yeah, don't look too much into the names. All of them are going to have some serious speed on their hands.
And even with the AM category, you can see at the top middle of your screen, 2.7 is the average rating in that category. That's about 1,000 iRating above the average on the service, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just Googling it now. Engstrom doesn't actually complete that lap, but this is an incredible grid that we have today, and I think there's a lot of prizes on offer, a lot of incentive to do well, and that does indeed conclude our qualifying.
Certainly does, and here is your grid then. Mamasi doing his teammate proud by taking pole position here at the first event, with Hugo Allen going to keep him company alongside. Bernardo Faria and Felix Votter line up on the second row, and then we have Van Thielen and Lazarus on the third. Vince Peters and Herbino are going to take that 4th row spot in 7th and 8th, and Miles Hemming and Maiko Van Luck 9th and 10th. Daniel Feisker and Yannick Mühlmann 11th, 12th. Further down the order, we have Yannick Danish in 13th with Gordon Marshall 14th, keeping him company. Jeffrey Ross and Matteo, Colin, 15th and 16th. We have Van Gucht and Van der Klei. I'm going to get real butchering here now. I'm trying my best. Oliver and Walker, 19th and 20th. And Luvers and De Vliger, 21st, 22nd. Bouts and Nevin Channy in 24th, and rounding out our grid here. Hope I didn't butcher names. Oh, apologies, a few more. Getting ahead of myself. Debova and Engstrom, 25th, 26th. Van Straten, 27th. Steve Clays is the Eagle Speed Academy owner, and Lucas Romano is going to be 29th and rounding out the grid then. Apologies, yes, of course, 29. You even mentioned it earlier. How silly of me.
There's a few difficult names in there. There really is.
It's testing. That's all I'm going to say. But it's brilliant to have so much talent on the field. I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of that. Names aside, it doesn't matter. It's all about what you can do on the circuit itself. I'm being corrected as well. It's not a Van der Klee, it's Van der Kai. I think we've got a bit of a spelling error there, so apologies, people. But here we are then, Dan. We're about to get going for the first part of this championship. The red lights are on. Everyone's foot is now on that loud pedal, and away they go, racing towards turn number 1. Anybody able to make some moves early on? Not so far as it seems. Going down the inside though, looks to be Farrier trying to hold on to it, but no, because Votter's there instead as they round through the first corner. There's contact, Lazarus facing the wrong direction.
Oh, it's a real shame for him. He's got to wait for the entire field to get through. It was a pretty backed up start from Alan there, and that's put everyone sort of tumbling over each other as Ferrari has been able to hold on to that P3 position ahead of Votter. It's been the dream start for Mamassi. Here is Hemming and Peters side by side down this back straight and in towards Schloss Gold. It's Peters on the inside, but still behind Hemming at the minute. Here he is up the inside. Can he go later onto the brakes? Of course, these guys have got to get their tyres up to temperature. They can't be scrapping like they would be in about 4 or 5 laps from now when their tyres are perfect and in the working conditions. They've got to be a little bit tentative here.
Certainly do, but you could also argue it the other way for that. This could be the prime opportunity to make some moves if you know you have an advantage over your rivals. But so far so good. As I say that, another car goes round. That's Romano, and also coming into contact. Oh, it's Steve Clays. Oh no, that is not the start he was looking for. Thankfully, everyone back on their way on the circuit and heading in the right direction. Doesn't look like there's too much damage about for those guys, but not the start they were looking for.
A very difficult start for these 3 drivers now. Relegated to 27th, 28th and 29th. Ryan Walker is pulling into the pit lane as they complete the first lap. Luckily for these drivers, Ashley, this is just the sprint race. 10 laps around here, then they go into the actual race itself, the main event, which is double this, 20 laps. So they've got an opportunity later on in the evening to make some motion, as here we've got a nice scrap for the lead of the Pro-Am category. It's Daniel Faeska having to defend from Van Luck, who goes to the outside line and towards turn number 3. Marshall is trying to stick his nose in there and actually has got a run at 2nd position. Well, 10th position overall, but 2nd in class. They remain as they are. And you can see, Ashley, now a little bit of a split is forming in that grid. 8th is stretching away from 9th.
That's the pros to the Pro-Ams there. I mean, it's almost expected in a way, but yeah, starting to branch out, but it's not going to help these guys if they keep fighting so aggressively between each other. They're going to try and go side by side through the middle part of the circuit here. Through Rauch they go for this time by, and it just looks like at the moment Facia's able to hold on Van Luck, and Marshall still trying to stick his beak in, and I think he's just about done it. Gordon Marshall down the inside, but too wide. He's gone too wide. Few more cars going through, and just like that, he thought he gained 1, but instead he's lost about 3.
They've just tripped over each other off the exit of the corner. They went too deep, too aggressive. Now still Gordon Marshall's trying to make up positions. He sticks his nose in a place where you can't really make an overtake. He's losing his head a little bit. It's only the beginning of lap number 3 now. You can see the rear of that car's a little bit jacked up. He's off the circuit, and there's more contact down that main straight, and that is Gordon Marshall going very slowly indeed. It looks so promising through turn number 8, and just 2 corners later, he's down in 23rd.
Rise and you fall. I think he's got damage to the back of that car. I saw him get clipped through the first part of Rint into the final corner. And I think it's just, I think he could be even crabbing slightly. Let's have a look at the steering wheel. Straightens it up here. he's slightly left hand down, so I think he's definitely carrying a bit of a knock on that car. It's going to be, can he get it to the end of this sprint? 7 laps still on the board. It's going to be some asking, especially through the middle part. You really need the rear to be compliant.
You can see how he's struggling with the broken suspension. I think it's ever so slightly a knock. Here is a replay of the accident that we just saw. It's the 115 of Jeffrey Ross. He's got the 137 of Colin going up the inside, and there is just a little touch there between the pair of them. He tried to get going. He did well to stay where he was, to let everyone file around him. Then when he had the opportunity, get off the circuit, I think that could have been a lot worse than it actually was. So well done to Jeffrey Ross, you've got to say.
Fair play to him. It's a real shame, but either way, they're all still in this race. I don't think we've lost a single car as of yet. Mamasi has been able to open up that gap now, 6/10 between him and Alan. So Alan's still within that slipstream effect. So he'll be picking it up down these straights, which is probably the reason why Mamasi hasn't darted off into the distance as of yet, because in terms of outright quali pace, he seems to be on another level, but Alan was obviously knocking just on the door. So all keeping it interesting, even right at the front, but he's got that little bit of a gap, so he has a small buffer that he can play with now.
Absolutely, I think he's in a great position at the minute, and Alan does have pressure from Bernardo Faria in behind as well, so we could actually see a very nice 3-car battle for the lead. Votta's slightly off the pace at the minute, but not too far behind that if anything happens in front of them, he will be in a prime position to make a move. But I'd say if I was Hugo Allen, after a pretty shaky start and having everyone behind you sort of fall over each other, have their own incidents, which sees Lazarus now down in 22nd position, I think he'd be looking more in his mirrors at Faria in behind than Mamasi in front, who at the minute seems to be the clear-cut strongest driver.
It certainly seems to be that way as of yet, but I mean, like we said, this is only the sprint. It's sort of giving us a bit of an insight as to how the full race may pan out, but we do not know what's going to unfold. And I think the other thing to mention, Dan, I think we've sort of not forgot it, but it hasn't quite come around to it yet, but the top 8 are going to be reversed from the sprint into the main event. So these pro drivers are going to be facing the other way, or they'll be slightly further down, depending on where they finish. But that looked like a good move there from Van der Kai on Van Gucht into Rint. You don't often see a move being pulled off there, but managed to do it to perfection. And now he's got to go defensive as he's being he's going to be trying retaken.
Yeah, I think that was a very nice overtake there, and Van Gucht, he really didn't have much of a defence from Van der Klei, but still headed down this straight up the hill in towards Remus. We could see a very nice scrap taking place. Faria's got through on Alan for second overall. There's now 4 cars all slipstreaming and pushing each other, headed down through here. The 221 of Steve Clays is actually that isn't Steve Clays. What am I looking at? I think I was looking at the wrong car, but yeah, Van Gucht has to defend from Oliver and de Boer in behind, and is now looking for an opportunity on Van der Klei, but can't quite see his way through. I'm getting all mixed up on the spotter's guide. I've got about 15 documents all spread out across my desk. I need to get them in order, actually.
It's okay. I will also forgive you on the fact that Steve Clays is in the same liveried car, because they're all part of the same Eagle Speed Academy. So don't worry about it. Look at it. Oh, there you go. You can tell by the tyres. There you go. Look at the hubcap. Look at the rear wing. He's got the pink. Yeah, nice choice. I respect that as well. I love a good bit of pink. But yeah, fantastic. I mean, it does look great as well, the car. It's a shame it's where it is for himself, but he's got back into this now. He's not completely out of it, is Steve Clays. So he'll continue plundering on and see how far up he can rise. I think Lazarus is also having that bit of a struggle as well. He seems to be stuck right at the back of the Pro-Ams at the front of the amateurs, and doesn't seem to have the pace to be able to really push it forward at the moment. But maybe here is a position for him, as he's going to try and pass De Vlieger into turn number 1. He'll have that, thank you very much. He's going to have to turn that attack into a defence though as he rises up the hill now. But here's a 4-way battle.
This is the same fight that we were seeing last time by. Now it's De Boer and Oliver going side by side in towards turn number 3. The car in behind, I think that's Engstrom trying to make it 3 wide on the outside there. Can't quite find that opportunity, but is still looking to recover a little bit. A very poor qualifying from Max Engstrom. He really wants to fight his way up the order as now they head downhill and towards Schloss Gold. There's a fight further up ahead. That's Van Gucht and De Boer looking to do battle. I think Debova had an opportunity, a really good shot at potentially making a move, but he backed out at the wrong time.
Colin now getting to the front of this four-way battle here. 10th position. Fasher seems to be darting off down the road. He's trying to stick with the pro category in front of himself and doing just enough to be able to stick relatively close to the pro bunch. But these guys here, they seem to be maybe tumbling over themselves a little bit. But this is a fantastic fight unfolding for us here at home. Mulman in the thick of it, trying to have a look to see if he can make a move. As Van Look and Danish also trying to vie for the positions that are in front of them too. What has happened here, Dan?
Is Bernardo Faria off the exit of the final corner. I think is about to lose the position to Votta in behind, headed in towards the first corner. I think he might have got a touch there to the rear, and then he goes off the circuit completely in towards turn number 1. Maybe spooked from the number 33 in behind. That was a very strange turn of events. He was up in second position not too long ago. Now is on the attack on Felix Votta in towards turn number 4. Down the inside for the number 87 in the blue and the yellow. Can Bernardo Faria get this move done? Indeed he can. They're still going to go side by side through turn number 5. Now in towards the double left-hander. And Bernardo Faria does find that move. A nice battle there. But very intriguing what happened down that main straight.
All I can think of, Dan, is a strategic play. He's lost the slipstream to Alan in front. It's 1.7 seconds between the pair of them. He's not going to pick up that little additional toe on the long straight, and so he wanted to make sure that Votta's ahead. He can use his slipstream and then immediately pass him back at the top of the hill, or preferably as they go down towards turn number 4 of Schlossgold, and he did exactly that. I wonder if we may see a repeat here again, as they have already are back onto the start-finish straight to start lap 8. He's going to hug that left-hand side, not as much as he did last time, though, and stays ahead on this occasion.
Well, even vulnerable, headed down this long straight. Here's Van Tuylen having to defend from Peters in behind. If all these guys start tumbling over each other, we could see a 4-car fight for the final spot on the podium, as Peters has a very nice run headed up the hill and in towards turn number 3. He'll go look to the inside line and in towards the corner they go, and Faria's gone very, very deep through turn number 3. I think he must have made some sort of mistake, possibly locked his brakes. Of course, no ABS in these cars, and now he is under pressure from Peters, headed downhill in towards Schlossgold. Peters will have to go the long way around and won't have the advantage right now, but can get back on the power earlier. Doesn't seem like he'll be able to find the move, and you really don't want to go on the attack headed in towards turn number 6. And I'm just noticing as well, Faria's rear is looking a little bit worse for wear. You can see a slight bit of damage there. That might have been from that main straight. I think there was a touch, not this lap, but the last lap by. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. I don't know if he's got proper damage, but it looks a little bit jacked up to me.
I think you could be right. It's hard to tell though, but maybe he's losing a little bit of performance then in the straight line. That could be potentially what has happened. Maybe a bit of a damage to the diffuser. Who knows? Either way, he does seem to be struggling at this point in the race now as we get on to the penultimate lap, as Peters on the attack here, going to try and make sure he gets past, but actually I think he's under threat from Van Tuylen behind into turn number 1. Nobody making moves just yet. They're looking to score it as they get to the top of the hill, but we're going to look slightly further back because this is Fasher, I think, trying to defend. Sorry, no, it's Colin trying to defend from Mulman, who's just managed to get past into turn number 1. Lovely overtake from him, but now he's under threat once again.
A really bad run through that first corner, so deep on the brakes for Mulliman, and Colin can come back through around the outside. Oh, so apologies there. Around the outside in towards turn number 3. He'll look very, very wide along the outside line. The number 116 as well is looking in. That's Van Look trying to find his way through. They're blocking the road for him, but Maiko can possibly look to make it 3 wide. He's trying to find an opportunity. Will look to go around the outside, but actually brakes a little bit earlier and will take a more optimal exit here. Van Look really trying to find his way through. Mulliman is going to be able to find that. He will find the position eventually on Colin after having a stoic defense on the number 137. I think this battle will subside for the time being, but next time by, it's the final lap, and look at this scrap, still fighting out for P4 at the top of the pros.
Wow, Farrier darting over the circuit there. Van Thielen trying to go down the inside. Can Peters follow him into the final corner? There's contact between all three of them there for a brief moment. Farrier really trying to defend this position hard. He's on the outside line. Van Thielen has the inside line for turn number 1. It should be nice and easy. Later on the brakes, through goes Van Thielen. Can he get the momentum needed to go up the hill and hold on to that position? Let's find out as Peters looks at the back of the Porsche of Faria. He's desperately going to try and find a way now because this is the final lap. Everything counts here. Faria darts to the inside late on the brakes. Has he overcooked it? Yes, he has, and they both go through.
And now I think Peters is looking for the opportunity on Van Thielen. I think maybe Van Thielen got a little bit nervous from what happened with Faria, and now look at him defending so hard, keeping it pinned to that right hand side. Vince Peters will have to go the long way round, will have the momentum. A switchback is on the cards, but I think Van Thielen has finally secured that move. Peters dipping some tyres into the gravel. What a battle that was. Faria going so deep in towards turn number 3, and he's continuing to fall down the order, but how about that for a battle?
Absolutely fantastic stuff, all accumulated on the final lap here. I don't think there's any chances to really make a move once again. But we're going to jump to the leader. It was never in doubt for Mamasi as he rounds the final corner to pick up the first race win. Of course, it's the sprint. We've got the full one to come, but it's still top honours for Mamasi as he crosses the line. Allen's going to have to settle for second in the end. Kept it close all the way to the end, though. Votta third. Van Thielen fourth. Peters secures that fifth ahead of Faria as well. And then we have Herbino, Hemming, Fascia, Mullerman in rounding out your top 10 as well. And you can look further down the order as they all start crossing the start finish. Just look at it now. On the grass they go. How did he hang on to that one?
That was very scary indeed, wasn't it? That was Leverse. Almost losing it right at the line. They're 3 wide across the line for 25th. You'd think with the way some of these battles are ending, they'd be scrapping for the lead. Verstraeten, I think, was involved in some sort of drama. Here's Gordon Marshall. It's good to see him still racing after all the drama that he had. No one, I believe, retired, although Dirk Boots was a lap down at the end, so I think he must have had some sort of incident. But wow, I mean, how about that for the first race? Ryan Walker will be the last one to come across the line. And heading into the main event, Mamasi, who wins this race, Allen in second. They're going to be starting down in 7th and 8th position. With the reverse top 8, it will be Miles Hemming on pole.
Certainly will be. It'll be interesting to see how that stacks up when you flip the front 8 for the pros. Maybe you might see a few of the pro-ams try and get in and amongst the mix into the first few corners. So that could put a few cats amongst the pigeons, as it were. But either way, what a fantastic sprint we have just witnessed there. I mean, if that's going to be more of that in the main race, Dan, I mean, we're in for an absolute spectacle, and I certainly hope it's going to be a bit more of that as well. But we've got a little bit of a break here as they're going to warm up and just go round on the circuit. So, I mean, what are we looking forward to here, Dan? I mean, if we get another repeat, like I say, I think we're in for a cracking main race. 20 laps of that. Sign me up.
Absolutely, and I think what might be the most interesting thing is that although Mamasi led from start to finish, he wasn't invincible from Allen. Allen was only about 1.5 seconds to the rear of him, and now Allen has that slight advantage on the starting grid, starting just 1 place ahead of Mamasi in this race. And I do believe that we saw the drama that happened with it was Lazarus, wasn't it, that went around down that first back straight. I really think something can happen. You know, there's the potential for drama to occur, and we could see a different winner today. Mamasi, although he has undeniably the best pace on the grid, he could get caught up in some drama, and I think that is the beauty of the reverse top 8 here, is that it gives the drivers like Hemming, like who else is starting up there? Van Thielen will be starting pretty far up. I believe it's Herbino starting on the front row as well as Hemming. It'll give them an opportunity to be in a more favourable position where they won't get caught up in incidents like Lazarus.
Nice. It's going to be all about that crucial getaway, though, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds in a few moments' time. But while we have a brief moment here, let's give a big thanks out to our title sponsor once again, Eagle Speed Academy, and thanks to Steve Clays, the owner. He's able to set up this fantastic organisation that is a professional racing school created to make motorsport accessible for anybody and everybody, from complete beginners to the most advanced drivers looking to refine or hone their craft, from theory lessons to advanced on-track coaching and even passenger hot laps. They are able to bring the feel of motorsport to life, so it's perfect opportunity to take your skills from the simulator to the real racing tracks. A big thanks to Steve there, and a huge thanks to Eagle Speed Academy, and not to forget KGL Creation Labs. KGL are able to offer a fantastic host of products right from their website. If you go and check that out, it really do have some stunning things. The thing that jumped out to me, Dan, was their custom sim racing gloves. You can even get your number, your name, all on there for you, so you have a lovely personalised bit of kit for your sim at home. I think these sorts of things, normally you can use them for sort of karting as well, but maybe check with them before you go ahead and do that. But either way, they look fantastic, but amongst other things, lots of sim gear from them as well. So go check out KGL, fantastic organisation, also a sponsor of the Pace Porsche Cup.
And especially those sim gloves. I mean, once you get a pair of them, you really can't go back. We are almost concluding the warm-up. I believe we've got just 2 minutes left to go. I think we've got some advertisements on the way.
Welcome back then. Warm-up has concluded and we're going to get strapped and settled in for the main event. 20 laps around this iconic Red Bull racing ring in the heart of Austria. And as I said at the beginning of this session of this championship, I couldn't really think of a better position or place to start with this championship. But either way, here's the grid then for this main event. Miles Hemming is going to start on the front with Herbino alongside. Farrier and Peters take up that second row. Van Thielen and Votter on the third row, with Allen and Mimasi on the fourth. Fascia and Moeleman is 9th and 10th, with Colin and Van Luck 11th and 12th. Danish and Lazarus 13th, 14th, with Van der Kai and Van Gook in 15th, 16th. Oliver and Luvers is next, with De Boer and Engstrom following them behind. Nevinche and Ross is 21st and 22nd, with Romano and Verstraeten 23rd and 24th. De Vlieger is 25th, with Gordon Marshall struggling to get home but managed to do it in 26th. Walker 27th, Clays 28th, and rounding out the back, Dirk Bouts. And here are the lights. Seem to time that to perfection, but the drivers are ready to go. We're ready to go, Dan. Here we are for the main race. The lights are out and away they go then, down towards turn number one. What a fantastic start there from Farrier. Immediately darts over to cover off Peters there in third position. Herbino's going to get the honours of taking turn first. Hemming is second, and as they all file their way in got a cleaner getaway this time. They're all darting to the grass on the right, trying to defend that inside line. Herbino still leading the way, but here comes Heading. Here comes Farrier, who's going to be latest on breakers into turn number 1. It seems to be Herbino who's able to hang on for the minute. Van Thielen go around the outside as they're all vying for position here as they make their way down the hill.
And they've all kept it very nice and clean throughout the grid. No accidents just yet as they follow single file. Here comes Hemming looking to reclaim that lead. It was a brilliant start from Herbino. Headed down and towards Schlossgold now for the first time in 20. And there is a spinner. That's Faria around. And he's going to have to agonisingly wait for everyone to go through. Another car just went off behind him. I think that was Ryan Walker. Is that a Grid and Go livery? No, it's an Altitude 3M esports car. Another disastrous start to a race from Ryan Walker. Here's the replay of what happened with Walker. We saw what happened with Faria, headed in towards Schlossgold. He seems nice and tidy at the minute, and then off the exit he sees Faria right in front of him. Has to take avoiding action.
Whoa. That was the quick reactions there from Walker. Very well done indeed, but the action's not over yet at the front. Votter trying to get some positions and hang on to it by the looks of things. Hemming has dropped a little bit further down the order, but still battling hard. Peters right there in the mix as Herbino tries to make a bit of a getaway. Van Thielen has got up to second position from where he started. I think he was down in 6th. As look at the middle of the field, they're all going 4-3 wide into turn number 1. They just about managed to sort it out at the apex. I'm trying to work out who is where as cars are going slowly. What is happening here?
I think it's Marshall going slowly, or it might be Nevin Chani. I have no clue. Here's Max Engstrom. He's looking to the outside of De Vlieger, I believe this is, headed in towards the next right-hander. There's another car off, and they're barreling into each other like a bowling ball gone berserk. It's Dirk Boutz into the back of everyone. Nevin Chani has also been involved there. I think Faria was also indeed. Yes, indeed he was. Faria is out of this race. The first retirement. He's got the meatball flag. He decides that his day is over. Disaster for Bernardo Faria.
Oh, what a shame. So early on as well. But yeah, first one down. Let's hope that no more follow as we're looking here, middle of the field. Colin trying to attack and defend all at the same time. Very tricky stuff when you're doing this kind of racing, and obviously everybody in the same car. I think that's what flocks people to this series as a spectator, but also as a driver, because it's equal playing field. It's all down to your skill and talent, and my word, there is plenty of it out there. Van der Kai sitting 10th at the moment. He's going to try and regain a little bit of time to Van Look in front of him, but he's definitely got his rear view mirrors full, because Colin is also having to do the same thing as behind him. De Boer and Newman having a little bit of a scrap into turn 1 there, but once again seems to get it sorted before they get onto this back straight. Well, Dad, I think we've calmed it down a little bit here, so maybe we can start thinking for ourselves a little bit more, but I'm sure they'll spark it all back up in a moment's time. Here we go.
Yep, just as you say that, Moulaman goes very deep into the corner, tries to find the move on De Boer. De Boer will say thank you very much and make that switch back manoeuvre work. Very nicely done from De Boer, who is sort of in no man's land in comparison to the rest of the amateur drivers. Here is Colin and Van der Kai still scrapping it out once more, headed in towards Schlossgold. It will be Colin seceding the position, and there he goes back through on Van der Kai as now they head in towards the double left-hander. You'd be a fool to go too wide in towards this section, especially when you see how far wide they go. They're almost right into the gravel most of the time. You can see the tyre marks to prove it there, but Colin gets back through. And I want to reiterate my point about how impressive De Boer is actually driving at the minute. 12th position, his nearest rival in the amateur category, down in 15th.
Really great stuff from him there. That's Hemming trying to stay ahead of Lazarus there as we make our way through Rint Curve and round the final corner onto the start finish. I think Lazarus is going to have a slightly better exit there, so it looks like he's going to go for that inside line. Can he get it done on the brakes? Doesn't look low on this occasion. He's still having a little peek though, playing peekaboo with him almost as he comes into turn 1, but thinks better of it, stays behind. He's going to look for the slipstream up the hill, but Hemming started right at the front. He's lost all those positions. You can see the gap there as well, so it's not gone how he was looking for, but he's not down and out. He's still very much in this race, and a long way to go. Fuel and tyres may come a bit more into this one as Mimasi up to 3rd and giving it the beans as he goes wheel to wheel with Van Thielen now.
Yeah, very nicely done from Mamasi as now they head in towards the next right-hander at Schlossgold. Further up the order, we've got a battle for the lead shaping out. Herbino is having to defend from Votter, and in towards now the next right-hander. Votter very nearly on to the gravel as they head in towards now turns number 6 and 7. Votter taking the more aggressive line. Herbino very much defensive in towards now this next section. Felix Votter has got the pace on the back of Herbino in the number 92 machine, but he can't quite find the move, and Mamasi is breathing down his neck. So this could be a very nice battle between, well, 3 drivers potentially for the lead.
Not a lot separating them at all. You can see there now at the timing tower as it pops up on your screen. The gap, barely anything. It's a blink of an eye, really, as they make their way onto the start straight to start lap number 5. We're a quarter of the way done already. Herbino still hanging on, but you can see there lap time wise he's 2/10 slower than his rivals behind him, and even Mamasi another 2/10 faster. So he's doing his best here to defend, and yeah, certainly putting on a nice show for us, but he's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to hang on to it. Up towards turn number 3. Look at the crossover there from the 3 of them. Mamasi darting to the inside. Votter goes for the long way round. There's no way through for them, or just managed to find some. It appears so. He's got the traction. He's got the drive. They're going to be side by side as they make their way down towards Schlossgold of turn number 4. Mamasi poking his nose in there onto the apex. It's better of it. Backs out. Herbino still hanging on. I don't know how much longer this can go on for.
Cinema in motion. Now Votter's got the inside line for the next left-hander. They're still banging doors as they head in towards turn at number 6. Mamasi will follow Votter through. What a defensive performance from Herbino, who is relegated to 4th position. Van Thielen will be able to fight his way through. But you got to say, for the 5 laps that Herbino has led this race, he has been under pressure non-stop. He's been incredible and is now going straight back on the attack. And this is brilliant stuff. And now the 2 leaders, Votter and Mamasi. We've been alluding to that big 10k number. There's 2 of them on this grid. It's Votter and Mamasi.
Over, aggressive to the inside. I wonder if he's got a slowdown though. That's going to be the reason, because look at him dropping back to the back of that pack there. And in all of this happening, Hemming and Lazarus have been able to slowly get back up to them. Lazarus with an impressive start when you think about it. He was down in 14th on the grid, so he's climbed a few positions to get back in with these pros and doing a very good job of it. But yeah, what a shame there for Votter as Mamasi takes the lead once again. But you can bet these guys are not going to give this up. Herbino, Van Thielen still in the hunt and looking for it. See how this unfolds then.
It's a great view from Felix Votter's car, who has been relegated from the lead now down into 6th position. Peters and Allen still going side by side. I think Peters has got that move done, and Votter trying to fit his car in the tiniest gap in the world, but he's found a way to put a Porsche 922 Cup car in there, and he's actually been able to find his way around the outside. No, Allen is still just keeping his foot in there and is able to hold that position, but you can't blame Felix Votter for going for that move. That was very decadent. It's like the golden chest, the golden scar in Fortnite that you find back in the day. But Felix Votter, unfortunately, it's just grey loot for now as they head in towards lap number 7. He's really looking to regain those positions.
Yeah, definitely one for all the kids out there playing Fortnite. Love that. Brilliant stuff. I'll tell you what, Votter here though, he's right back on it with the aggression as Peter's now having to serve a slowdown. Final corner. Votter, he's doing an absolute stellar job. He's giving me some real British touring car vibes. The way he's using his car, he's not afraid to make a little bit of side banging, door contact, getting a little bit of trading paint as they would call it. It really feels sort of almost like an old school way of driving it, but I tell you what, he's putting it exactly where he needs to and using the car in a fantastic way as well. Really impressed from Votter there. It'd be interesting to see if he can get back towards that front and maybe challenge Mamasi once again. Let's see how it goes. He has got a bit of a titan in front of him though in Hugo Allen, as the New Zealander has found his way into 4th now, and he's going to try and look for more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your metaphor of the old touring car, I mean, the amount of times I've been caught 3 in the morning watching 2002 BTCC is unheard of, the amount of times I've done it. And it is that you're absolutely right, they really do just throw their car in, hope for the best, and why not? These are pretty durable machines. It's not like your Formula 1 cars that will crumple when you blow on it the wrong way. Here is a nice little scrap fighting out. It's still Muleman and De Boer. These two have been stuck to each other like glue for the past 5 laps or so, and now finally De Boer is going to be overtaken by Muleman, but still De Boer's got the run on the inside line. You've got to be really careful on the exit here in case you get a slowdown, and I'm wondering if you go over that rumble strip, the white rumble strip on the exit there, is that where you get the limit? I'm not too sure. It seems like Muleman has been able to avoid the slowdown, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now Jeffrey Ross is looking to get his nose in here, but once again, stoic defence from De Boer.
He gets sideways on the exit as well. He's really pushing that car. That's going to cost him though, as they make their way up the long straight here, because he's lost a bit of momentum as he got it a little bit sideways. And now this is going to be Muleman's chance. De Boer to the inside though, slightly later on the brakes, but cannot seem to hold it. And he's going to be sold the dummy by Ross. What a move at the apex of turn number 3. Fantastic there from Jeffrey Ross, and absolutely caught De Boer napping.
And I just want to, if we've got a break in the action, no we don't, because here is Van Gut. Now this is for the lead of the amateur category, looking up the inside of De Boer. What has gone wrong for De Boer? He's lost 3 places now in the span of about half a lap or so. Chris Van Gut is now your leader in the class, and there is Herbeno. Herbeno's around, that looks like down at turn number 8 if I'm not mistaken. He's had enough.
No, that's the middle. That's a turn number 7, 8. Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, turn number 8. Yes, you're absolutely spot on. Apologies there, Dan. Luckily, he didn't hit the wall though, so he's still in this without a scratch on the car. Let's see what happened there for Herbeno, making their way through turn number 6 and 7. He's right behind Van Tielen. Allen behind as well. He tries to go down the inside. Oh, it's almost like a pincer manoeuvre. That is so unlucky from him. He was lucky not to hit the wall, and he got it stopped in the gravel, but he's lost definitely a lot of positions and places. But he's got the pace, he's got the speed. He'll try and look to catch back up to the pros, but he's now going to have a few people in his way.
He's right behind Van der Kay and Colin at the minute, but still, he's got a long way to go to catch up to Van Look at the leader of the Pro-Am. Speaking of Colin, he's looking up the inside now of Van der Kay. These two have been scrapping out for quite some time at this point. He's now in towards this downhill run towards Schloss Gold. Can Herbeno find a way into this battle, or will he look to just relax a little bit and try and get his bearings back in this race? As here is Colin down the inside of Van der Kay, still keeping it around the outside line. But Colin, I think, will finally be able to muscle him out, although Van der Kay has got about half a nose in there, in towards now the left-hander. This could be so close to contact between the pair of them. Van der Kay gets on the power earlier, and a brilliant send to retake that position that he lost just a few corners ago. I don't think Colin was expecting that. That was brilliant from Baz.
Another part of the circuit where you don't normally expect to see a car go for a move, but he pulled it off to perfection. Here comes Herbeno following his way through as well, getting past Colin there into Rint Curve. Nice easy one there for Herbeno. Next in his sights, Van der Kay. So let's see if he can get back a bit further inside the top 10 as he currently sits in 10th. But look at that monster train behind him. Brilliant to see the midfield here all sticking within sort of the slipstream effect of the car in front. It really does go to show just the skill, talent involved, and the fact that they are so close together, even at this middle part of the race. They really haven't found out all that much. Really is brilliant to see. A man that's impressing me as well at the moment is Van Look, the Pro-Am, only a second off the pros in Hemming. So really impressive stuff. As people going off at the hairpin. Who was that? That has just gone wide, rejoining back onto the circuit. I wonder if that was Muleman. It was, I believe. We're going to ride on board with him. Let's get another look at this, Dan.
Yeah, in towards turn number 3 they go, following in the wheel tracks of Colin, I believe this is. He just get a little bit too aggressive on the brakes and all. He just has to take avoiding action there, otherwise he's square into the back of Colin. Loses a couple places for it. I don't believe he got a slowdown or anything, so he's just going to get away with a track limit warning. Although he's got a big yellow flag next to him, I think that might mean he does indeed have a slowdown penalty there. So a real shame for Yannick Muleman. And there he is, he's pulling off to the left-hand side. I think he's now served it and he's able to get back racing. He's scrapping it out with Van Gut. Here is Yannick Dinish looking up the inside of him now in towards the next right-hander. And De Boerva is back through again. These two really can't separate from each other at all, can they?
They really can't, and once again they're going to lock horns, I believe. Here they go, side by side, down the start finish straight to Bova. Mühlemann, they're bagging wheels, they're touching doors, they're trading paint, and where has Mühlemann gone? Oh, there he is, he's back, and he's through as well into turn number 1. Brilliant move there. I don't know if you saw it because, I mean, it was a bit intermittent, but he is there. He's on the circuit. De Bova now going to try and launch an attack up to turn number 2.
It's absolutely terrifying when that happens and you're racing someone. They just disappear for a few seconds. You don't know if you're driving through them or if they've just disconnected completely, but most of the time they come back through, and Mühlemann will be able to hold on to that position. Here is Van der Klei having to defend from Herbeno in towards turn number 4, and Herbeno is finally able to get back through. Colin is looking to follow through as well, allowing for the pro driver to just punch a hole in the air for him, but he is unable to find the move around the outside there. This has been some non-stop action in this race, and once more we've got another scrap. This is between Van Tuylen and Allen for the second position. They're 4 seconds off of Mamassi at the minute. He looks untouchable at the minute, and so this could be the best that they can achieve. Van Tuylen is able to muscle out Allen for the time being, but they come together off the exit of the final corner. Hugo Allen sent spearing into the wall, and that could be his day done for. If he is able to get back to the pit lane, they do have a fast repair, but for any chance of a good finish, it's over for Allen.
Oh no, just when you thought it was all going to go so swimmingly. I thought they'd gotten past the worst of it, but no, they had a small contact. Here we go from Allen's perspective. Gets the up and under, back on Van Tuylen. Van Tuylen loses grip. That small bit of contact just sends Allen into the wall. He was just a passenger at that point. He could not do anything about it. What a shame for Hugo there. He's dropped massively down the order in respect from where he was, but the battle not over for these front guys. Votter now on the offensive from Van Tuylen. They're going to go side by side. Peters lying in wait to pick up the pieces should it all happen once again. They made their way through Schlossgold, now through 5 and 6. Votter, Peters, door-to-door stuff, and Votter once again showing why British touring car is also great, like the Porsche Cup here. Fantastic overtake from Votter, really good show, but Van Tuylen not giving it up.
Absolutely, this is a great recovery drive from Votter, who got dropped down to about 6th position, I believe it was. He's been able to fight his way back through, has done incredibly well, but Van Tuylen going back on the offensive, headed in towards turn number 9. Thought better of it through Rint Curve there, and now in towards Red Bull Mobile. For the 12th time in this race, Votter will maintain that position. Van Tuylen might have to look in his rear view mirrors to look for Peters in that beautiful blue and yellow livery. In a world where I feel like all the cars are getting a bit more grey, it's good to see all the colours that we've got on the grid tonight, and I love the pop of the yellow, the pop of the green. Look at that beautiful blue on Van Tuylen's car in 3rd position. I love the creativity that all these teams and organisations put into their cars. Is now up the hill. Seems like they're calming down for the time being, but a poor run from Votter off the exit of turn number 3 could open the door for Van Tuylen.
I'm so happy you brought the liveries into this, because it's always a massive talking point for me when doing these things, but it's going to have to wait, because here goes Van Tuylen down the inside of Votter into turn number 4. He's going to show him the exit rumble strip, and he looks like he's going to have that move done before they get into the next corner, or is he? Votter having that inside line later on the... He takes it very confidently indeed. Felix Votter hangs on to second still for the time being, but he is massively under pressure from those behind. They're edging ever so closer to taking that away from him, but he's not giving it up. He's not giving them an inch, and he's fighting to the very end.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from both of these guys, really. Votter, I mean, down the inside through turn number 6, I really did think he was going off. I thought he'd completely outbroken himself and that he was going to go right into the gravel, but he proved me wrong very, very quickly. Van Tuylen did well to try and defend there, and I wouldn't have expected a move to come through so aggressively, as here is De Boerva. He's got a black flag, will have to serve, I believe, a drive-through penalty. This is Oliver is going to have to do the same. So a couple of drivers getting a little bit aggressive with their track limits and all their contact with all the other drivers. We haven't seen too much of Oliver, but certainly de Boer, he's been in the thick of it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few 4Xs in there.
It wouldn't shock me, but at the same time, it's obviously not ideal for him. He's lost a few positions from that, but he rejoins there in 21st position. You can see there Steve Clay's just coming through in his Eagle Speed machine. And up towards turn number 2 and 3, there you go. Steve Clay's there, 22nd. He's found his way a bit further up the order. Very nice from him. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure. Nevin Chani, he's there in 22nd, fighting with Ryan Walker there for that position. Privateer company there for Max from Portugal, and I forgot to bring it up here, Dan, but he really did have a fantastic race 1 when you think about it. He started right down at the back of the order. I think he climbed his way up to about 20th or so. So he gained about 10 positions. That's a car off! Dirt boots off! In turn number 4, rejoins, but now there's going to be a bit of gravel on a slippery part of the circuit.
Yeah, when we see all these drivers, you know, they like to go side by side. They might struggle for grip off the exit of the corner when they're just getting the foot down. So Dirk Boots is certainly making things a little bit interesting with just over 5 laps to go in this race. It's supposed to be, I think, a 40-minute run for all these guys. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating it. But I think it's actually half an hour this race should be. But it's absolutely flown by. We're still getting battles between Votter, and now Peters is looking to take P2. He is seeing himself as high as he's been so far this evening, and now Van Tuylen could look in the wheel tracks of Peters. He's side by side with Votter, who's going to have an opportunity to brake very, very late in towards now turn number 4, where they could go 3 wide. It's Peters on the inside, Van Tuylen in the middle with Votter on the outside, still side by side through turn at number 5. There you go. I think now surely Votter's got to concede that position. Look at how defensive Peters is going here, and in towards now the next left-hander. They're practically crawling through here. Lazarus is getting involved as well. This is unprecedented levels of battling here for P2 on the grid.
Fantastic stuff, all for those podium spots as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Hemming can slowly find his way back into this battle, because they're really going hard for it. 3/4 of the race done, a quarter to go, 5 laps left in this one. And Mimasi hasn't had to do anything because he got to the front and he's absolutely darted off. I'm not surprised he's darted off because those guys are really going hard for it. As here comes Colin now into the pit lane. He's also serving a drive-through penalty there. That's what that black flag next to his name means. So he's going to have to trundle on through the pits under the speed limit to serve that one. And he'll definitely be losing a fair few spots from where he was. And you can see there Romano through, Fescher through, Marshall also through. As they're down there now, 14th, 15th and 16th. Here comes Luers as well. He's going to also make it past Colin before he's back out onto the circuit, as I think he rejoins now. I wonder if Verstratten's going to get him too. Colin onto the circuit. Verstratten might be up to a bit more speed than Colin. This could be a test of the brakes into turn number 3 here.
I think Colin, he'd be wise to back out here, but he might have the ego on Verstratten. He doesn't want to be overtaken by an amateur. And it's good to see that there is no ego in play here for Colin, who was looking for a very nice finish indeed. And look at this, they're still fighting it out a lap later for the same position at the same part of the circuit. Lazarus almost losing the car, but he's actually found his way through on Votter, now relegated into 5th position. But Lazarus himself has a very poor run through turn number 8. Hemming is looking to get involved, as well as Votter will look to the outside line in towards Rent Curb. Will retake that P4 position. Peters and Van Tuylen still fighting it out, nose to tail practically for the entire lap. Vince Peters is feeling the pressure of 5 cars behind him. Unbelievable. Alan, look at Alan right in behind. He's been able to find his way back into this fight, and so now 2nd down to 7th, 6 cars in this train for the final 2 spots on the podium.
That's really impressive from Alan there. He's got a damaged car, probably a little bit of a performance deficit now with the damage, and he's still able to keep it right there with him. And it helps that they are absolutely going for it. and battling so hard in these closing stages, and why not as well, because these are for the final podium spots. They've even been closing the gap a little bit to Mamasi. It's now dropped under 5 seconds. It was over, I think, a few laps ago, so really going hard for it, but also at the same time, Mamasi does not need to push, as Peter's still leading the pack then. Van Thielen, Votter, Lazarus, Hemming and Allen just joining the back of this train.
And when will they pull the trigger to go once again? I mean, it's just it's waiting for them. It's about who shoots first, and then it's just an all-out gunfight right towards the end. I would not be surprised if these guys are side by side on the line, maybe 3 wide for second position or whatever. But if they keep scrapping out like this, they could possibly, I mean, they go very heavy in the battling. They could see Van Look to getting a little bit closer to them. Now, Van Look's a driver I just want to mention, started this race in 12th position, now got himself up into 8th. But here's the funny thing, his iRating, of course it's a measure of experience, his iRating, 2,166. That's the lowest on the grid. I'm not sure why he actually is classed as a Pro-Am driver, but still, he's got the lowest iRating on the grid, yet he's running in the top 8 and on the precipice of fighting out with the pros. This is brilliant stuff from Van Look. I'd love to hear his story.
I can probably tell you, I think I've seen him before in a few other events. He's certainly no slouch, and I'm not too sure why the iRating is as it is, but we're not here to worry about that all that much, because it's still going on with the battling between these drivers. They can settle iRating later on, I'm sure, but at the moment they want to settle this on the circuit. Votter has managed to find his way back up to 3rd. He's now going for that second position spot. Peter's late on the brakes, just about avoiding collision there. Van Thielen and Votter still side by side. Peter's following. Lazarus right there in the battle. Hemming and Allen are now neck and neck as well, as here goes Van Thielen back down the inside through turn 5 and 6, now towards 7 and 8. Who is going to get this, Dan? Because at the moment, I do not know. Here goes Peters. Can he follow him through? Oh, there's contact as well. It's so, I don't know. It's all happening.
I think Lazarus is through. Lazarus is down the inside now, and Vince Peters headed in towards Rennsport for the 18th time in this race. This is unbelievable. Corey Lazarus started this race in 14th position, now could see himself on the podium if all things go his way. Look at the positions again. You can see he is far and away the top gainer in this train. But it really has been an incredible race. This has really lived up to the hype that it has got, and I tell you what, I can't wait. Whether I'm commentating or just watching, I can't wait for the rest of the season to pan out. I think the Pace Porsche Cup is really going to be something special, and we are on the penultimate lap of this race. Everything is being set up for this final battle between these guys. Peters is going back up the inside of Lazarus. He's not happy about him making the move last time by. What's going to happen next? I have no clue.
Yeah, it all comes down to this. If you were thinking of going and getting a drink, don't, because you don't want to take your eyes off of this as we do get into these closing moments now. Peter has managed to fend off Lazarus there. He's hanging on to 4th for the minute, but Lazarus fighting back up and under, looking to try and regain the traction there. But Peter's having the inside line. He'll hang on to for the time being. What they don't want to do is fight too hard and let the two in front. There's big contact further back. Who was that? It's Van Kut and Van der Kai coming together, and just another little bit of nose touching there as they both try to rejoin the circuit. What happened there, Dan? Let's find out.
Let's see what happened where the driver in focus is Van der Kai, who is defending on the inside from he just had an awful exit there, and I think that was Jeffrey Ross that he hit, and then there was just no avoiding it for Van Gut really at all, and then bonk off the rejoining the circuit. That is, I let out a little chuckle there. You shouldn't chuckle when they have a crash, but it was quite funny. And Jeffrey Ross is coming into the pits with a penalty, as is Allen. That will take him out of the fight. Well, Allen's got a black flag, but he's not actually served it on the final lap of the race.
Quite incredible he's not gone for it, unless he got it after the start finish line. Who knows? We'll find out afterwards, or potentially next week, depending on what the stewards do with that one. Either way, this all comes down to well, it all comes down to this now. Look at that, Mamasi's only 2 seconds ahead. He's really dropped off the pace here, but this is where the battle is at. I think Mamasi's definitely got this one sewn up, but it's not over yet. Van Thielen fighting with Votter. Peter's there as well in the fray. Van Thielen showing Votter the gravel and the grass at the edge of the circuit. He's hanging on to second for the time being. Not many overtaking opportunities left now, Dan.
Here comes Van Thielen then in second position. It's been a fantastic defensive drive. Now Votter darting to the inside to defend from Peters. He wants to hold on to that podium as they approach turn number 9 and 10 for the final time. Peters will have to look in his mirrors at Lazarus now trying to take the inside line. I think it'll all settle out nicely as they head through the final corners for the final time. What a race this has been.
Massey rounding the final curve now, maybe having to do some fuel saving because it dipped under a second, but he's going to take the win. Van Thielen, Votter, Peters, Lazarus and Hemming is your second down to 6th. It was so close together, absolutely incredible. Van Look with an amazing drive. He got passed by Herbino in the end, but my word, what a fantastic result for him. Here comes Van Gut now rounding the final few. He's battling there with Lauwers, as more and more drivers crossing the line to finish their race. Moeleman, Danish, Roman, Van der Kai, there was Van Gucht and Lavers, and then Ross, Colin, Verstraeten, Fischer, Clays comes home in 20th. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that indeed. Walker, Oliver, Bouts, De Weiler and Marshall finishing off your grid. De Boer there, unable to finish unfortunately. Nevin Charney also out. Enstrom and Farrier out from the very first few corners, or a few laps I should say, so unfortunate for those guys there. But Dan, what a race we just had. I mean, the sprint was obviously the preview, but I really was not expecting that.
Yeah, that was something, and right to the end, I got scared that Mamassi was going to lose it. Honestly, look at that 0.6 of a second, the gap between himself and Van Thielen. Shout out to Corey Lazarus, who's the driver in focus at the minute. Starting this race in 14th, has been able to climb his way up to 5th. But what a race that was. Mamassi winning both the sprint and then the main event after starting from 8th on the grid. That was a brilliant drive from him there. Well done as well to Van Thielen and Votter rounding off your podium. There are your results on the screen. How about that? The top 5 separated by less than a second and a half.
Yeah, really incredible stuff when you look at it. It's certainly something to keep an eye on because it is going to be a couple of weeks before we get to the next event, but we can bask in what we just witnessed. I would definitely go back and watch that all over again because my word, fantastic. Either way, the Brit Mamassi takes home the gold. He wins the sprint and the main race. Van Thielen's going to come home second and Votter rounding off those podium spots. Peters, Lazarus, Hemming, Herbino, Van Look, Moeleman and Danish, your top 10. Before we get to Romano, Van der Kai, Van Gucht, Lowers, Ross, Colin, Verstraeten, Fischer, Clays, Walker, Oliver. Allen drops to 22nd after a 30-second penalty has been applied for not serving that drive-through. So he finishes there. Bouts, Divliger, 24th. And then we get to Marshall, De Boer, Nivenchani, Enstrom and Farrier. The full grid there for you. Wow, fantastic stuff. I mean, you know, we've got a nice mix there as well of some pros, AMs and the pro-AMs too. It's certainly, like we said at the start and during, Dan, it really isn't about, you know, your iRating. You're looking at the experience and even then, necessarily give you the full picture.
Absolutely. I think it just comes down to race awareness, and that can be built into you. You could be first week on the game and just know what to do. You could have the 1.3 iRating, but then be fighting it out with the very best. And I mean, I think this is a very great mix of field, and they were all, you know, they're all very experienced drivers, and just the lower end of the grid, still 2.1k, I believe, is the lowest iRating. That's still above average for the iRacing consumer base. So, I mean, this is an incredible grid of all incredibly talented drivers from all walks of life and all different countries. It really is a fantastic series, and I mean, who doesn't love the Porsche Cup? It's arguably one of the most fun to drive series on iRacing. I think it makes some of the best races.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Dan, why don't we have a chat with a few of the drivers out there, because we're going to get their point of view of how they felt the race went. I'll start us off here with Chris Van Gucht. I'll just bring him in to the call. If I can work this one out. God, here we go. I'll get there in the end. Right. Brilliant. Well, hello, Chris. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the win for the amateur class. Brilliant driving out there. How did that one go for you in a nutshell?
Hey, good evening, guys. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Well, all in all, it was pretty fun field to drive in. Yeah, just an unfortunate accident in the second to last lap. But yeah, all in all, good race, fun to drive, good competition, love it.
Yeah, it certainly looks fun out there as well. I noticed you weren't leading your class the entire race. You had De Boer, who were unfortunately unable to finish in the end. Was there any point during the main event where you were a bit in doubt you might be able to get him or not, or were you sort of pretty confident in your own abilities?
I was just trying to find my rhythm back in the second race. Navarro had a boomy start. He just flew past me in T1. And I was just trying to find my pace as soon as possible to get in my rhythm. I knew I could get him, but it is a Porsche Cup, so everything is possible, or everything can happen.
Yeah, it certainly can do, especially in these cars. Everyone in equal machinery. Being in equal machinery as well, then, Chris, maybe give us a slight insight. What's it like in the field, especially when you've got cars all around you? You're attacking, defending. What are you mainly focusing on when you're racing in this?
It's my first time doing a competition or a league race in the Porsche Cup, so I'm just driving like I always drive, more on the safe side, trying to defend my position, but don't be over aggressive. If someone's faster, just let them pass, try to follow. Most of the time, that gets you more to the front than to the back.
That's understandable. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, thanks for joining us. Congratulations once again on the class win. Really good stuff out there. How are you looking for going deeper into this competition when we're looking at, say, in a few weeks' time at Imola? What are your thoughts on that circuit?
I love Imola. I don't think I've driven the peak up over there, but I love the track, so we'll see. We'll try to make the best of it.
Why can't the skills transfer?
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, thanks for joining us. Congratulations once again. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thanks to before we let you go?
Everyone in the team, my teammates who are driving, all the sponsors. A big thank you to Pace as well, Nick, for organizing this, and thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast.
Brilliant. Cheers, Chris. Well, I'll let you go. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good one.
Brilliant. Well, Chris van Gucht, amateur winner this evening, and looked to be on some good pace there in regards to the rest of the field too. Dan, why didn't you seem to be a bit of a fanboy here for why didn't you have a chat with him on this one and yeah, bring him in.
I'll drag him in. Maiko, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
Right, I've got to ask, okay, because your iRacing 2.1, how and why? How have you got up right here in 9th position, winning your class? Incredible stuff. I want to hear your story.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal races, starting from pole, where I worked really hard for, it was a bit of a surprise, because the pace is so strong from these guys, and the new guys also coming in, it was unbelievable. But then, starting on pole, had a great first lap, although the start was pretty bad, because my launch is always bad in this Porsche Cup, so I need to live with it. And then, yeah, it was just a hard battle, but then sadly I came into contact, Marshall I think it was, braked a bit too late, and we both going wide, and we lost 4 or 5 cars. And then we came a bit back, just missed the podium, and then the main race, it was the other way around, so I got lucky with the car contact in front, and then trying to follow the pros until the finish line, so it was great fun.
And follow the pros you did. You were very close actually to being within their fight, which would have been an overall P2 and P3 scrap. Was there any hope that they would maybe fall over each other at one point and, have a little accident, you could pick up the pieces?
Yeah, maybe at one point, because if you go through turn 1, you see the guys going uphill, and then they were 5 wide or something. I was like, what the hell, come on. This can be going good. So I was hoping for it maybe, but yeah, at the end, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, still a winning class in the Pro-Am category. You can't really ask for more, can you? And heading into next time out, the 13th of October, it's Imola. How do you feel around that circuit?
I think pretty good. I really love it. I think with this car it's insane, but it's maybe a bit tricky also. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's a great racing for round one. So looking forward.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, is there any shout outs you want to give to your team or anyone watching?
Yeah, of course, Vortex. They do an amazing job with setups. Lucas, everyone working hard and sharing. So yeah, that's very fun. I couldn't be here without them. And also you guys commentating. It's always so nice to watch. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, it was a brilliant race. You know, it's all on the drivers to give us the performance. We just shout very loudly over it. So thank you so much for joining us in at the commentary box. We hope to see you in future rounds back in the interview room. But we'll let you go and well, enjoy that victory.
I will. Thanks, guys.
And we just got one more person waiting for us, Ashley.
Certainly do. Just gonna do a little bit of manoeuvring here. Let's get this all right. Yeah, let's bring in the overall winner for both the sprint and the main race. Absolutely incredible stuff by him. Of course, Mimasi, hello, welcome. Enjoying the victory champagne, no doubt. How are you feeling after that one?
Was a bit nervous because I didn't put enough fuel in to finish. I had to save 1.5 laps of fuel the whole race, so I was quite scared that I would make it to the end, and just managed to make it to the end, just coughing over the line. I managed to still win.
Yeah, I was going to say you got such a large gap. It was maybe lucky that you did then, in that sort of sense. I mean, but you done the double tonight, and fantastic debut, as it were, and. We saw and was given a bit of information, Mamasi. You're obviously filling in for Erin. I think is it Erin Baba, if I get that correctly. If I haven't, apologies. Yes. You're labelled as decent. I mean, if there are any doubters out there, the doubters have definitely been swept away. So, yeah, what a result for you. You've got to be over the moon with that one.
Yeah, I'm happy. Oh yeah, sorry. Carry on.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm really happy. This first round didn't know what to expect. With because I've never done any sort of league before as of this. I've only really done just sort of the official races on iRacing. So yeah, didn't really know what to expect, and ended up being good results.
So tell us then, if you haven't done any sort of league stuff like this, what got you into this?
Well, basically, Erin couldn't make it. And he asked me to fill in. I said, yeah, sure. I mean, because he told me that it's obviously a decent league. There's some good drivers that are doing it. So, and the calendar looks good. It's good tracks. And obviously I want to drive because it seems fun.
I mean, what more reasons do you need other than that? I mean, fair enough. The word decent being thrown around a lot. I think they may have to change the meaning of that soon. But either way, Mimasi, what a fantastic result for yourself. I mean, how are you looking at Imola in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, Imola obviously is a good track. The off tracks are going to be an issue there. It's quite strict with the off tracks. So, but yeah, the track is nice. Obviously, F1 track, it's popular. I like it. That should be good.
Brilliant stuff. Well, before we let you all run off and celebrate your double victory, I would like to reiterate that one. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks out to?
Yeah, obviously, big thanks to Grid and Go and Erin for helping me with the setups.
Brilliant. Well, fantastic stuff from yourself. I'm sure we'll see you here at some point again in the future. But well done for tonight. Go enjoy yourself, and thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Brilliant. Well, that was your race winner, Mimasi. What a performance he's done again. Dan, I think that is all we're going to have time for here this evening, unfortunately. So, I mean, what are your final thoughts and takeaways from round number 1 here of the Pace Porsche Cup?
I'm just waiting for the 13th of October to roll around now. We've got to wait 2 weeks for what was an incredible start to this season. We're waiting for that continuation. I mean, the Red Bull Ring, what a circuit to start us off with. And what a different track we're headed to next time out. Imola might be the complete polar opposite to the Red Bull Ring, which is chock filled with straights, and we're headed to a circuit with all the tight corners in the world. So it'll be very exciting to see how these Porsche 992 Cup cars handle around that circuit.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be a different challenge for the drivers, but the calendar is very much stacked, as Mamasi mentioned. We do head to Imola in a couple of weeks' time. Following that, we have the Nürburgring, the full Gemserstracker VLN, if you know what I mean when I say that. We head to Road Atlanta after, then Hockenheim, then Spa before, well, by the time we get into December. So very much is a stacked grid, and it very much is a stacked calendar. So Dan, that's all from us. Big thanks to yourself for joining me here this evening. I hope we see more racing like that in the future. And from all of us here on Apex Racing TV, have a good evening. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.